All right. Welcome to the Nil-Nil podcast. This is episode 22. I had to
After 1 month.
I had to sign in again just to remember where we left off. But yeah, it's been a month. The last episode went up on May 18th. So that's currently June 21st to date this episode, but yeah, it's been a whole month. Mostly my fault, not yours.
Of course.
Because the week after the last episode went up, I went on vacation. And then at the end of that vacation, I got the Rona. And
got attacked by the Rona.
Mm-hmm. So that's 3 weeks,
But
and
you're
then you know I need another week just to adjust myself back into the normal world. And now we're back. Not that we missed anything. 2 of those weeks was international friendly, so like.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. It almost felt like the league went, on a small break because of it, and then we kind of went on a small break because of it.
Yeah.
Even though we're not supposed to go that strict with following the MLS schedule.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if anything, I probably chose the perfect time to not host the podcast because, I mean, there wasn't a lot of soccer going on anyway. So
No, and at least the national teams that you and I follow, the U.S. and Mexico, they weren't performing the best.
Should we just talk about that real quick? We don't have to go into every game, but we could just go into a brief overview. So,
Yeah.
What was it? Who did the U.S. play? I do remember watching all of them.
The last one that the U.S. played was El Salvador, I think.
No.
It wasn't.
Let's see.
That's
Oh, no,
the
never
one-
mind. You're right. It's because it was backwards on Google. So,
Yeah, because that's the one that I was watching.
the first game that USA had was against Morocco that they won 3-0. I thought they played pretty good in that one. The game after that was USA against Uruguay, where they're playing pretty good, but I mean, Uruguay looks like a decent team now, especially now that they switched coaches. And then, of course, the Nations League games of USA versus Grenada and El Salvador and USA playing in that muddy field, right?
Yeah, that was terrible. I was just not feeling that game because of it. I just kept looking at how muddy it was.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure every country besides USA and Canada in CONCACAF is used to playing in those conditions.
I mean, I figured that everybody's at least played in that kind of condition once.
Yeah, but let's talk about how USA did overall. I think USA did pretty decent against Morocco. Like I said, they're really good. One thing that I did notice is that we had striker problems up until the third game of that the international break. Because that's when Jesus Ferreira scored 4 goals in that 5-0 win against Grenada.
Yeah, and in that game against El Salvador, that was kind of what the U.S. ended up resorting to in the second half, putting in Ferreira and Areola in the second half to get a result since they were behind most of that game.
It seems like we don't have a lot of firepower. I think we're solid from midfield back for the U.S., but I definitely think if you're gonna have Jesus Ferreira starting as your number 9, I think at this point you just need to put Areola in there with him.
yeah, you definitely do. Unfortunately, in that game against El Salvador, he did end up getting a red card shortly after he came in.
Yeah.
Something that I don't believe should have been a red card. I think it should have been more of a yellow. I don't know. Even after so many repetitions, I think it's still a hard argue to make it a red, but I don't understand why they don't have VAR, and that's the decision that the ref made, and it's one of the more higher regarded refs.
It was the Mexican ref,
Skinny
wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but I would say USA could probably classify that as a successful international break, considering out of the 4 matches they had, they tied 2 and won the other 2. So it's not bad. Not a single loss.
I think out of all of the games, I think I was most impressed with the Uruguay game.
Yeah.
Even though it did end up as a draw, and even though Uruguay also didn't have their official star lineup. But I felt like they played well enough to keep that a draw. And I think the US also wasn't playing with their like starting lineup either.
No, and the thing that's impressive about that game is that they put Uruguay basically put their starting lineup in the second half of that game against, I would say, a tired USA team pretty much, and we still didn't concede. So I think that's a positive to take away from that.
Yeah, it's much better in comparison to how Mexico did, where they just allowed 3 goals in and no response.
Yeah. But overall, I think that's pretty much all we got to say about the U.S. I think they just need to sort out their striker issue on who's going to be their number 9, because it feels like they keep trying different people there, and it doesn't work too well. But I mean, they got half a year to figure it out. So,
yeah, and I think that for the El Salvador game, Zimmerman was injured, so Carter Vickers had to step in his position, and honestly, like just as the same as Ariola, I've been aware of.
You've been a fan of him from the U20s.
Yeah, right? Yeah, since the U20s, and in the U20s, I think he was like the youngest player in that squad, way back when. He stepped up and in the position for Zimmerman, and he did such a great job, because this guy, I mean, you've seen him, he's built like a tank. And there was one play where in the Salvador match, there was a player from El Salvador trying to take the ball away, and he was just holding him off with one hand. It was impressive.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but other than that, I was also impressed by Musa. He is a really, really good player.
Yeah, I mean, that's why. I mean, we officially cap-tied him. He plays for Valencia, right? So, one of their better players on the field. Let's talk about Mexico and how they're doing. So, the first game Mexico had during that international break was against Nigeria. Didn't even watch that game because I had no idea it was on.
I honestly was more looking at what the US was doing. I mean, I did watch, I think, some of the games, but they were so bland and boring and just forgettable.
Yeah. So Mexico ended up winning 2-1 against Nigeria. Then the next game was Mexico versus Uruguay, and that was probably their worst game of that break. They were playing terrible. I don't know if it's Mexico playing terrible or if it's just Uruguay playing good, because they had their starting lineup and everything, and Cavani was just tearing them a new one pretty much.
No, it's Mexico. Because after that, it was Mexico, Jamaica,
and Mexico, Ecuador.
Oh, Mexico, Ecuador, then Jamaica.
And then no, and then Suriname, right?
Jamaica was the last game. That's the last game I remember.
Yes.
And honestly, it is them. You know, there is no passion in that team from any player. And one thing I noticed was that the players don't move. They do not react. They don't have any like idea of moving around to create spaces to help each other out. Everybody's very individual, just looking at whoever has the ball and seeing whatever he does with it, and not going to where the ball will be, like for centers and crosses, but they expect the ball to come to them. So they'll be in the area and wait for the ball to come to them, which is extremely predictable. But instead, they should be moving to where the ball will be, so that they can actually get some chances on but they're really just not trying.
Yeah, and another thing is I think that Tecatito's lost his magic in terms of, like, Mexico used to have a couple of players who their skill was getting past people one-on-one. Tecatito probably being the most standout player in terms of that. That's why what makes him so exciting to watch is that he would try tricks, try to get past people, but it seems like he doesn't do that anymore. It seems like he'll just run at somebody, try to beat them on pace, but if that doesn't work, he'll just pass the ball back. He doesn't try any of his old tricks anymore. Nothing flashy. It's kind of sad to see. The only one that seems to have that at this point is was it Diego Lainez. it seems like he's the only one.
Yeah, out of everybody, out of the whole lineup, out of the whole 22, 24, I don't know how many, like, squad, he's really the only one who still pours in the amount of effort that you would normally see in previous squads.
Yeah.
But other than that, everybody else is just so absolutely lazy. And it's frustrating to watch because you can clearly see the chances happening, and nobody's just making an effort to move forward, to run with the ball, to, try to pull some players in order to create space for another player. No, everybody's just sitting back, waiting for the ball to come to them. They're more reactive than active.
Yeah, and it's not that, but it also doesn't seem like they play as a team. There's doing a lot
Definitely
of that.
not.
Especially from what I remember them growing up, the worst thing about watching Mexico is when they're playing bad is that they do that thing where they just pass the ball around the box and they don't, there's nothing, no creativity, no sense of urgency, no sense of, trying to bring the ball forward. They're just passing around hoping for somebody else to make that play to get them the goal. But nobody wants to take that kind of responsibility. Like, there's few players that do that. So that's kind of the most frustrating thing to see.
Just take the shot. You're gonna get roasted anyway, just, you might as well get roasted for trying than roasted for not doing anything.
Yep. And I mean, it leaves me feeling, probably you too, kind of worried about them, considering they only got 6 months to fix this, and basically this problem has been going on for 2 years at this point almost.
This has been going on for way further than 2 years.
Yeah.
Because you'd think that after so many years of football, and we've seen plenty of talented players come up, that they would have developed some sort of like new style, like the confidence of knowing, oh yeah, we're good enough. Everybody knows if you want to play well, you go to the European leagues.
Yep.
Okay, there were plenty of Mexican players who were playing in the European leagues. You'd think that they'd have the confidence within themselves to actually think that they can beat another national team. But no, it's kind of like the opposite. Like, they have absolutely no confidence in themselves. And again, they have no passion. They have no, I don't know, they just don't want to do it, And all these other national teams, you've seen them change over the years, because it's not the only team that's had problems. I mean, the U.S. also had problems, and they've changed from what they were under Klinsmann.
Yep.
And how many coaches ago was that?
I think the prime example you're looking for is the Germany team, when they did awful and they basically revamped their whole youth setup to get. I mean, look at them now. They basically have 3 players in every position that they could choose if they wanted to, because their youth setup was overall. Yeah, but I think even they took their B team right to the. Was it League? No, it wasn't the Nations League. It was the tournament that happens before the World Cup that used to happen. I forgot it. I forgot what it was called. It was like basically the warm up.
The Euros?
No.
I'm drawing a blank on which one you're talking about. I feel like they have 10 different
Confederations Cup. That's what it is.
Oh, the Confederations Cup.
Yeah, okay. But it was just abolished in 2019, so that's not going to happen anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But that's what used to happen, where they held like a mini World Cup in the country that the World Cup was going to happen. But I remember they took their B team there, and they still did decent, or not winning it.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, Germany is a very special case. They were under one coach for the longest time and had pretty good success under him. Yeah. And then they reached the point that you're talking about and had to do a complete overhaul.
No, this happened way before then. What I was talking about.
Oh, you're talking about like way
like
before?
When Germany started being good, pretty much.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, at that point, yes. But here, like, the difference is that here in Mexico, we have so many different coaches. Like, there is not a coach that lasts longer than whatever tournament that they get hired for.
Well, longer than a World Cup cycle, probably.
Yeah, exactly. There's no coach that really lasts longer than that. And sometimes there's been a coach that gets hired for the World Cup and then gets sacked halfway through. And I agree. I think it's a little bit of both. I think yeah, some coaches their philosophy just doesn't work, but at the same time, the players are just not putting in the effort that needs to be put in.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, we're worried for Mexico. But looking forward to the World Cup. But it's kind of annoying that it's not happening right now.
I know I'm so thrown off by it, but
Yeah.
I guess it builds up the anticipation now.
Let's talk about LAFC's game they played over the weekend against Seattle. That's pretty much the only MLS game I watched. I didn't watch the rest of them.
Yeah.
What do you think about the game?
I thought that they missed a lot of chances.
Yep, I would agree. Specifically talking about the Hollingshead Chicho one on the goal line.
Yes, that's exactly the one that I was. If there's anything to come away from that game, Stephen Fry.
I think they just need to practice their shooting. I think they had plenty of chances to score, but they kept shooting it straight at him.
Yeah, they do have to
he
practice
didn't.
their
He didn't move into position. He was already there. We just shot it straight at him.
Yeah, but I think you can almost say that part of what impacted the most in this game were the goalkeepers.
Yeah.
One, Fry for blocking everything that LA was throwing at Seattle, and to Crepeau just giving the ball away so that Seattle could score.
Again, it's not the first time we've seen it from Max.
Yeah, it's not the first time. And when I saw that, because I didn't see it happen in real time, I ended up seeing the replay of that.
Yeah.
I was so confused. I was trying to figure out what he was thinking by passing it down the center, that I did not see a player of ours in the area that he passed it.
Yep. He's trying to pass it to Ilie, but that always seems to end up in a.
In the opposition in a turnover.
Yeah, I think it happened against Cincinnati. I think that was the last time.
I think you're right. Yeah, it does ring a bell. But I'm completely confused by that, because he's a great goalkeeper, but these are really silly little mistakes that he's making. And super dangerous, as we can see, since we ended up conceding from that error. I think that he kind of needs to slow down, maybe. Because I don't know if he was trying to play out fast.
Do you think it's time to switch goalies, or you think it's just that's something he's got to work on and that's it?
Yeah, that's just something he has to work on, because if we're talking about shot stopping, he's honestly the best option we have out of the goalkeepers that we have. I think he just needs to work on that.
Yeah, I think so.
What did you think about the game? Anything that stood out to you?
I would say the result's probably fair. I think Seattle probably had a little bit more chances, but they were just as guilty as us of not putting away their chances. LAFC definitely should have scored at least 2 in this match, because I'm thinking about the Chicho one. That should have been a goal, especially if you're somebody like Chicho, who has way more skill to put it in the actual corner. It should have been
Chicho
a goal.
it wasn't just that one. He had multiple opportunities to score. And as well, Opoku. I think he missed a couple of clear ones as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like that we called up Danny Trejo from the Las Vegas Lights, though, on the short term.
He made a direct impact as soon as he came in.
Oh, he got the assist.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is that he actually played for Las Vegas Lights the next day.
No way.
Yep, and he scored the game-winning goal. So I'm saying, I think he might start pushing for Musovski's spot if we're actually considering bringing him in permanently.
Yeah. I mean, I love Moose, but sometimes it's really frustrating to see him just kind of waste some opportunities.
Yeah, that or Opoku.
Yeah,
They both been wasting too many chances. We need somebody clinical.
I'd say one over the other, but they're both kind of like around the same uh, effectiveness as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But
Another thing that for me is that realistically, I feel like we should have come away with a win on this game because Seattle seemed pretty sluggish and they were making a lot of turnover errors as well.
yep. Defensively, they're not that great. They're pretty decent
Right.
attacking, but I think they're missing a lot of their players to injury. A lot of the ones that
Yeah.
would have probably destroyed us. So I think we're just lucky in that regard. But we definitely got to work on our finishing. That's always. I mean, that was a problem before the international break anyway, as well. But
Yeah.
it's kind of frustrating to see because we know we're good enough to get to the goal, but if we're not putting these chances away, I mean, we're gonna start losing points like we have recently. So we
Yeah,
gotta
we're dropping points right now, and I mean, I know
by a
it's just coming off
miracle,
of an
yeah. By a miracle, we're still first place, but that's not gonna last forever, right?
yeah, but this is like a weird slump that LA has hit so far.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got this draw. We got what did we get? We got a loss to Austin. We got a loss to Colorado. We got a loss to Galaxy in the Open Cup. We got a draw against Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just a weird slump. Like they started out so well, like a different team, and at this point right now, I think the only thing I could say is that they're looking a lot similar to what they were before.
Yeah.
Strangely in first place, but similar to the performances we were seeing towards the end of last season.
Yep. I just looked. I totally forgot the Open Cup was a thing.
Yeah.
Ever since LAFC left, but they played today actually.
Oh,
The Galaxy played against Sacramento and they lost.
no way.
Yeah, 2-1. We would have won that game, I think.
Well,
But,
I don't know.
well.
Not
Oh well.
based on how we've been performing lately, I doubt it.
Oh well, it's too late now, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What should we talk about next? I don't know. It's our first time
Well,
back in here, right?
Galaxy ended up drawing against Portland.
I didn't really watch it.
Let's see. The Red Bulls ended up beating Toronto 2-0. Orlando beat Houston. Vancouver beat Dallas. How about that?
That's crazy. I think they beat Dallas in the other game, the first game they played too.
Did they?
I think so.
I'd be surprised if they beat them twice, because Dallas had been doing pretty well recently. Let's see. Miami ended up losing, so that means Atlanta won finally.
Mm-hmm.
New York and Colorado drew, and we had Sporting Kansas beating Nashville.
Yeah, but Nashville hasn't been as strong as they usually have been.
Yeah. And if Zimmerman was injured for the U.S., I'm assuming he's also still under that injury for Nashville.
Probably. We could.
Yeah, he was not in the lineups. I got a thing. Do you have any news on transfers?
I was literally going to say that we could talk about transfers.
Yeah, I mean, it is transfer season.
I forgot where's the page I check.
The only one that I have in mind right now is Liverpool signing Darwin Nunez and Mane already signing autographs for Bayern.
No, you gotta follow the Here We Go guy. If you got any soccer fans out there, they know exactly who I'm talking about. It's Fabrizio Romano, which is that dude has no career until transfer season comes around, and then he's awake 24/7.
Yeah, for like 2 months.
Especially on the when the window closes, I think he doesn't sleep the whole day.
Well, yeah, that's because a lot of last minute deals are happening.
Yeah. So, um, today officially Lukaku was announced returning to Inter. Or I don't know if it was announced, but it's basically confirmed that he's going back to Inter. It's a loan deal. They're paying 8 million euros,
Hmm.
um, and the loan deal's for a year. There's no buy option apparently.
Oh, so he's just on loan. Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, he
You
wanted to
know,
go back.
Lukaku reminds me a lot of Pogba in that sense,
Well, they were
where,
friends, but then they hated each other at the end. I think.
well, I mean, they can hate each other as much as they want. They remind me a lot of themselves of each other with how their deals go through. Like Pogba,
Mhm.
Juventus, match made in heaven. Pogba comes back to England, terrible.
Yeah.
Lukaku, Italy, does wonders. Lukaku back in England, not that great.
Wow. But I mean, a lot of people say he's probably the worst Chelsea signing recently. They can't catch a
Really the
break.
worst.
I mean, they can't catch a break with the strikers. I mean, Timo Werner was signed and he did terrible.
Yeah.
Was it Fernando Torres wasn't so great? I mean, you could keep going with that list, but they haven't had a lot of luck.
I
Um,
think for me, one of the funniest ones was Werner because he spent so long without
mhm.
scoring.
Yeah. But that's whatever. We'll see. Like if he actually is a good player, then he'll start scoring goals again. But maybe if he's lost his touch, then I mean, basically he's done at this point. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And with that first touch, I mean, there's some
yeah.
problems. And speaking of Chelsea, who are they bringing in?
What Raheem Sterling is that the one you're talking about?
And that is exactly what I'm talking about.
Seems so
He's just,
random.
it does seem random. And also, I want to say it seems wrong. It just seems weird.
Well, I mean, they have Holland. What are they going to need? I mean, they have Mahrez to replace Sterling, so
Sterling.
that's not that bad, is it?
Yeah.
And plus, they have, I mean, Grealish. They got Foden up there. I mean,
If anything, like the most for Man City, I mean, the most I guess impacting transfer for them is going to be Silva leaving, right?
not Holland coming in.
Yeah, but they're not playing the same position.
Yeah, I know, but they keep joking around about Bernardo Silva.
Oh, do they?
Well, it's the
What?
Barcelona 100% wants him.
Right.
Pep was just like, I think he's staying though. Because I think they're having a talk with each other, and I don't know if they're playing a friendly or something. But
Hmm.
the Man City players are going to Barcelona for a bit to I don't know what they're doing with.
Check out
But
their facility, see if anybody wants to sign up.
now the Barcelona president was like, "Is Bernardo Silva coming?" And Pep was like, "Yeah, and 22 other players." uh,
That's
uh,
a shopping list right there.
yeah, but I mean, they can't sign Bernardo Silva until they sell Frankie De Jong, who said he doesn't want to play for anybody besides Barcelona. But it seems like Barcelona keeps going to Man United saying, "Buy him, please, quick."
He doesn't want to play for anybody but Barcelona, but
the,
Barcelona doesn't want him to play for them
the,
anymore.
and it's not like he's a bad player. I think they prefer having Bernardo Silva, which I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's like a mistake for them because Frankie De Jong is pretty solid in the midfield. But I mean, if Man United actually gets a signing, it's a win-win.
I mean, I think your team's just going to turn into a Dutch team.
All it sounds like is that everybody's rumored with Man United, but we're just watching, not touching anything, just
Oh,
window
so pretty much
shopping.
the same as usual.
Yeah, um, there's not much going on there. Let's see, Newcastle are about to sign Nick Pope from Burnley, who got relegated, but their goalie was decent, so that's why that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sadio Mane excited to be in Bayern. How do you feel about that?
Um, it's kind of like bittersweet. Like I'm sad to see him go because he's
Mhm.
been such a big part of the team for the last 6 years. Um, but at the same time, I feel like I think it makes sense that out of the three that would leave, it would be him.
Mhm.
I know he says he's searching for a better challenge and all that. But is Bayern really a bigger challenge?
I wouldn't think so. But here's a quote from Sadio Mane himself. When my agents told me about Bayern's interest, I was immediately excited. I saw myself there right away. For me, it was the right club at the right time. I only wanted Bayern.
I mean, if that's how he feels, he's free to choose.
Yep. It just sounds like he was already out of Liverpool mentally, right?
Yeah, I feel like maybe that friction that started in 2018 between him and Salah might have like started the whole idea of him moving to another club.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and seeing how I want to say the more of the focus on the team when it comes to a star player or a focus player is usually on Salah. It's not really Mane. Yeah, Mane has always done great and has, also kept up with the goals with Salah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, not all the time. But if you think of Liverpool, most people will say Salah. They're not really going to say Mane, even though, he's done almost equal amount of work for the team.
Yeah.
But, I think he's right though. I think this is the right time for him to change directions. And fortunately for Liverpool, there was also another option on the horizon to take up the spot. And plus, it's not like we don't have other players that, even if we didn't get this signing, that couldn't have taken up the position. I mean, Luis Diaz has been so amazing since his start. He plays like he's been there since the whole project started. And we also have Diogo Jota, who's also been playing out of his mind at times. So there's plenty of players on the team who can definitely pull their weight enough to cover up the hole that Mane would leave behind.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, how haven't you talked about Giorgio Chiellini going to LAFC?
Oh my god, we were talking about LAFC and we didn't even talk about that. Yeah,
I know. How do I miss that?
it still feels a little kind of fake to me. It's one of those where you tell me a random player who has a good reputation and then you just say he's going to LAFC. I'm like, nah, I don't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's actually real.
That one seemed like it came out of nowhere.
It did come out of nowhere. That's the least signing that I would expect for us to make.
Yeah, but I'm not mad at it, especially with Mamadou Fall. I think as a mentor, it'd be a solid signing. Especially, I mean, it doesn't hurt to have experience in the back, considering how sloppy we are.
Yeah, and I think if you compare the leagues, I think it'd be a bit more of a piece of cake for him to be playing out here. I mean, sure, he's gonna play to his level, but I think it'd be one of those moments of you're overqualified for the job, so you gotta kind of like tone it down a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as a mentor, he's a perfect fit as a signing to bring him in. Like you said, for Fall, being so young, he's going to learn so much from one of the best defenders in the world for the past, I don't even know how long. But at the same time, it brings me so much relief to know that we're going to have a good, solid partner for him at center back. So, because honestly, Ibeaga and Henry have not really been ideal when it comes to playing either alongside or in place of Fall.
Yeah, so they don't look, I mean, they look way slower and they don't look as committed in terms of making decisions. It doesn't seem very stable when they're on the field.
Also, if you had to choose between Chiellini and Murillo, who do you choose?
Depends. If Chiellini could still run, I'd go Chiellini. But if not, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure he'll play his first game sooner rather than later.
Yeah, but I kind of figure that the running effect probably won't even take that much into effect, because if everybody's moving up, you kind of just leave him behind. Less running.
Yeah. Who else? I mean, there's not really a lot. There's a lot of rumors flying around. I mean, Amino leaving to AS Monaco apparently.
Yeah, I mean, for him, I feel like he does need to look for another club. There's just too much.
It's the same thing with Origi at Liverpool, where they're not really using it.
Yeah, and it's not that they're not good players. It's just that the goodness that you need for the team doesn't come as often as you want it to.
Yeah.
Like there's the consistency isn't there as it is with the other players who are constantly starting. Minamino has great plays at times, scores really wonderful goals at times, but then there's a lot of times where just absolutely nothing's happening while he's on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say another signing that another player that I could see departing the club, not that he will, but who I would be okay with would be Keita, Naby Keita.
You could say that. You could say Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's still there.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was still on the team.
Yep.
Yeah, he's definitely another player that could depart. When he came in from Arsenal, he was playing amazing. And then he ended up getting that injury, and he just ended up losing that really great form that he had, unfortunately. And in order to replace that, other players were brought in, and he just never ended up overtaking them enough to claim his spot as a starter again.
Yeah. Mario Götze is back in the Bundesliga.
I did see that. Frankfurt, right?
Yep. After being at PSV.
PSV. Oh yeah. I honestly don't remember him playing at PSV. I mean, I knew he was there.
I think he was there for 2 years.
Yeah, I knew he was there. I just don't recall any time that I did watch a PSV game. I don't recall him being on the field.
It's not bad though, because this is a decent signing by Frankfurt. He only cost $4 million.
Oh, that's really cheap.
Yeah. Witzel has left Dortmund, and rumors going to Atleti.
Oh, interesting.
It's a 1-year deal though.
Mm-hmm. That's not a bad signing for them. And for Dortmund, I feel like it's not that bad for him to have left either.
Yeah, Columbus Crew signed Watford striker after the relegation.
Oh, really? Who?
Yeah. Guy named Cucho Hernandez.
Oh, okay.
$11 million is how much it costs.
Wow. Is it weird that I feel like that's a lot?
Damn.
I mean, if you compare him to Götze for $4?
Yes, it does seem like a lot. Carlos Tevez is a new manager.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he's going to another club. I was like, I thought he was done.
No, he's retired. Who else? LAFC was rumored to somebody else. Well, first of all, we were trying to get the guy named Cabecito Rodriguez, but America, he ended up choosing America.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy you were telling me that it was like whichever team wants him.
Or whichever team he wants.
And whichever team he wants.
That would be the second time that he's rejected LAFC. So I don't think you want to go for a third at this point.
No. I mean, the first time, you get rejected once. Understandable. You try it for the second one just to see, if he maybe changed his mind. But if he doesn't want to play, he doesn't want to play. And I feel like we can definitely spend that time looking at other players who might actually say yes.
Yeah. Who's LAFC rumored with?
Rossi? Are we getting Rossi back again?
Yarmolenko. That's who LAFC was rumored with.
Okay, Yarmolenko. Name sounds familiar.
Played for West Ham last. The Ukrainian.
That's exactly who I had in my mind.
Yep.
Sounds like it should be not bad.
It's not. Man United rumored with Christian Eriksen.
Really?
Yeah, but it's up to him to make a decision because he's a free agent. So.
So he was a Brentford, right?
Yep.
So his deal with Brentford's up?
Oh, it was only it was like till the end of the season kind of deal.
Okay.
But they're trying to re-sign him, and then Man United's like, we'll sign you. So now he has the pick pretty much.
Oh. I mean, I'd say go to Manchester United, bigger name, but Brentford didn't do that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much all that has to be said in terms of transfers. Everything else is pretty much rumors. There's nothing huge.
Okay. Well, as summer goes on, the transfers will keep coming,
Hmm.
and I'm guessing we have nothing else to cover as well, right?
No, no. I mean, we'll talk about the previews in the next podcast on Thursday when we record them. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see the developments throughout the week if there's any hopeful transfers that happen by the next recording, and then we'll just preview the games.
Yep. All right.
Sounds good. Let's try to be consistent again.
Yes. Definitely. Okay, well, that's the end of that episode. Please make sure tune in for the next one. We'll try to be more consistent, as we just said. And happy to be back. Right?
Yeah, we're here. We're back. And if those two Portland listens are still there, shout out to them.
Yeah. All right. See you guys in the next episode.
See ya.
All right. Later.